Welcome to the SEN in 10 podcast. I'm guest host Darren Clark, and I'm on a mission to spread more awareness. We'll be chatting to educational specialists to bring you inspirational stories and to discuss all things SEN. You can find us on Facebook at SEN in 10, where you can find out more about what we discuss and all our up-and-coming episodes. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us your name, background, and the organisation you're from?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me, Darren. So I'm Vicki Edgar, and I work with a company called Tech, which are speech recognition developers, which helps children and people basically learn to practice their reading, and specifically reading aloud with our product Fonetti.
Wonderful, thank you. Can you tell us a little bit about Fonetti?
So, as I say, Fonetti is a read aloud platform. Basically, the speech recognition engine that we have created in partnership with University of Edinburgh has been designed to recognise children's read speech. So as the children read books on our platform, they get real-time recognition. So as they're reading the words, they go green if they read them correctly. If they miss a word or misread the word, it simply greys out. So they can visually see that they've not quite got it right, yet they're able to double tap the word to hear Fonetti read it to them so that they can then repeat it and make it go green. And at the end of every single book that they've read, they can earn up to 3 stars. So it gives it that gamification and encourages the children to want to read more. And then in the background, we have a school portal where teachers can log in and they can see all the really amazing insights from our AI, which allows the teachers to see on either whole class level or individual pupil data, and they can see how long a child's been reading a specific book, what their words correct per minute were, their accuracy, what words they've struggled with, and they can then use that information to make more targeted one-to-ones.
Incredible. And just thinking while you're saying that, which is, you must find within your product that it's allowing independence and obviously such learnings, how you can help and support and improve their reading.
Absolutely. So the platform can be used independently 100%. And so myself, and you asked about background, and I totally missed that off earlier. I am dyslexic, and I grew up knowing that reading aloud was absolutely terrifying for me. I remember being in my classroom like many years ago, and the teacher saying to you, right, okay, Vicky, stand up and read in front of the whole class now. And the words would move on the page, and you literally just freaked out. And so, yeah, it absolutely terrified me to have to read in front of my friends. I thought I was going to make a fool of myself.
How important do you think independence is?
Yeah, so important. It's something that I'm very, very passionate about, as you well know. And to have that independence, it kind of gives you it throws away the anxiety, doesn't it? And it really...
Listening to your story, which remarkable journey what you've been on and do to continue to help in the education sector, you're talking about independence and the feeling that you must have had in that classroom, and you can resonate and how a child would feel, being asked to read something. What do you love most about your job and working in?
The fact that I am helping children to not have to have the same fear that I had when I was a child.
What do you think more support we could have around SEN? Because I know you're obviously creating some incredible products to be able to do this. What's kind of been the conversations that you've had, like the barriers?
So if we're looking at in school, obviously the barriers are time constraints. That's absolute huge. Teachers just don't have the time to sit down with every one of their pupils every day and listen to them read. And where Fonetti obviously really, really works with reluctant and struggling readers, and that's where the teachers need to kind of put their focus to, because they need to bring those children up. You also find that the children that are able to read, the teachers don't necessarily have the time to read with them as much either, but they still want to be heard. And obviously with Fonetti, they're then able to send the children off into little corners or what have you, have Fonetti time, and the teachers can still get all of that valuable data. So the children, all children of all aspects, are being listened to.
How important do you think it is for someone to be heard? Because if we went back to the scenario you said, where they're asking you to read aloud, and that feeling never goes away, no matter what, the anxiety comes up. The fact is that you wanted to be heard, but what was that kind of feeling like? How important do you think it is?
Absolutely, it was terrifying, and it is really, really important to be able to speak out and to absolutely be heard. I actually, because of my struggles with reading, I actually turned to drama at school because I was able to learn my script. And then I could go on stage, and I was Anna from The King and I was Wendy from Peter Pan, and like literally, my confidence soared, and I absolutely loved the stage and done really, really well in a drama GCSE because I was able to show off what I could do. And I am a very confident person in every other way, but when it comes to reading, writing, it was always a struggle.
So do you feel that you excelled within drama because you had an interest into it, you loved what you were doing, and it was probably because there wasn't so much structure that's put on to normal lessons? In the drama, you could really be yourself.
Absolutely. You are able to be yourself, but you're also able to hide behind another character as well, aren't you? And so it does really, really help with your confidence. It really does boost your morale, if you like.
Would you say that? And that's really interesting when you said that. So it could be also a form of masking, in the sense that if you're being another character, it's almost like I'm going to put my confidence in that other character.
You can be what you want to be, can't you? You can absolutely be what you want to be.
And it's just interesting when we think about in a classroom environment, the restrictions that are put on from the lack of not being able to read or read confidently and being asked to read out loud. So it's trying to find a way to help an environment, individual.
Absolutely. Our absolute mantra is to, as I say, just help children.
What would you like to see going forward?
I think I would love for teachers to be able to, when they're doing their training courses and everything, to have more than half a day of SEN training throughout their whole course. There is so much more kind of neurodiversity around now, isn't there? And that was because of not being diagnosed at an early age. It was the fact, like, as I say, I was diagnosed at 7. Dyslexia wasn't recognised. It wasn't a thing in the 80s. So my parents had to take me out of my state school to put me into a private school. And then they had to take me out of that private school once a week to go to a specific dyslexia school. And it was just absolute madness. But now, obviously, there is that so much more awareness. And I know that there's campaigns out there to make sure that children are assessed before leaving primary and that children are able to be seen, heard, and get that diagnosis and get that help. As I say, my son is diagnosed, but actually the ASD diagnosis, when we first applied for it, I was told it takes around 2.5 years when you're doing it through kind of the NHS. But actually, when he was going through his diagnosis, COVID hit. So it actually took 4 years. And he struggled throughout primary. And we were really, really lucky. I changed his primary school in year 4. And then 6 months later, we went into lockdown. But his Senko was absolutely amazing, and she done absolutely everything she possibly could to get his EHCP in. And bless her, she submitted it on his last day of year 6. And I forever owe her, because it has changed since Ollie did get the EHCP, which we know takes a very, very long, it's a very long process. It's changed his life. He started mainstream in secondary. It didn't work for him. Now, due to the EHCP, he's in a SEMH setting, and he's thrived, absolutely thrived.
Well, I want to thank you, one, for taking time out to speak to us. Secondly, and most important, incredible work that helps on a global scale. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us on SEN in 10. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. You can catch all of our episodes at www.senin10.co.uk. You can also find us across social media at SEN10. Be sure to give us a follow to keep up with the latest news. And thanks again for listening, and we'll see you again next time.